It is, my husband has a strong desire to spiritually guide our children, which I deeply appreciate. However, he turns nearly every interaction into a teaching moment, and it can be exhausting for both the kids and me. I've noticed that they sometimes tune him out, and it frustrates them. Should there be more balance? I worry that his constant need to correct them is affecting his connection with them. Any insights would be appreciated. Thank you. Now, I don't have an ability to respond on email, or I could do so because this was anonymously submitted. So let me just try to treat it quickly, right? I think that most women would die for a husband that interacts with their children trying to teach them the things of God. But there is an ability to be oppressive. There is an ability to go too far. And so we need to recognize that as men, that not every exchange needs to be a corrective exchange. In fact, look at the example of God with his son, Jesus Christ. Now you could say, well, that doesn't count because he didn't ever do anything wrong. But in reality, then why would he need to affirm him? Remember when he was baptized, he said, "This is my beloved son in whom I am well pleased." If your children are not hearing from you that they please you, if your children are not gaining affirmation, then there needs to be an adjustment of your potentially critical spirit, right? So it's great that a man so yearns for his children to walk with the Lord that he desires to point them to the Lord. That's a great thing. But there is the ability to exasperate your children, as the scriptures tell us in numbers of places. We're told in Ephesians 6:4, "Fathers, do not provoke your children to anger, but bringing them up in the nurture and instruction of the Lord." And a father may say, well, I can't help it if my children get exasperated when I'm trying to just discipline them and instruct them in the Lord. Well, that speaks to a relationship that needs to exist. There is that passage in 1 Thessalonians chapter 2, verses 11 and 12, where it says, "Just as you know how we were exhorting and encouraging," not just exhorting, but exhorting and encouraging and imploring each of you as a father would his own children, so that you would walk in a manner worthy of God who calls you into his own kingdom and glory. So there needs to be the admonitions, there needs to be encouragement, there needs to be a pleading with your children. And there are numbers of things that go into this. Number one, personally, as a father, I endeavored, now did I always strike the balance? No, but I endeavored to affirm my children as often and as much as I had to correct them. So I was affirming and correcting, affirming and correcting, affirming and correcting. I think that's an important thing, that they know that you love them. Another issue is that if my children don't want to listen to me, I was concerned about that, not because of what they were doing, but what was I doing that was causing them to tune me out. This isn't an assembly line where you're just punching kids out, right? This is a relationship. And if you wouldn't listen to me, if you would say, I don't want to hear it, I would go, okay, there's something here that I need to seek to cultivate so that you would be willing to listen to what I have to say. And the same was true of my children. If they weren't willing to listen to what I had to say, I would back up and I'd say, okay, what am I doing that would cause them to shut down to me? What am I doing? Because my desire was for them to be open with me and to be willing to tell me anything, disagree with me anytime they wanted, in a respectful way, but I wanted them to be open and frank and honest with me, and I wanted to be with them. And so I think that it speaks to a relationship issue that the father is more concerned about it seems, I don't know the specifics, but it seems the father is more concerned about his children doing right than cultivating the relationship with his children that would provide him the influence in leading his children in doing what is right? So that's the key there, and there needs to be that relationship. And as fathers, that's something that we have to work hard to both establish and maintain because of how little time comparatively to the mom that we have with the children because we're working and other things in most typical homes. And so it needs to be one of affirmation as well as correction. And I think that's just an important thing as we seek to love, encourage, bless our children. I mean, you look at the Old Testament blessings of fathers on sons and daughters. That's another subjective description that exists of godly men on the fathers, or godly men on their children, and to nurture them. Because if we fail to do that, we can discourage our children and cause them to tune us out. And your task is not just to say the right thing. It's important that you say the right thing. But your task is to communicate the right thing, which means there needs to be an ability to listen as much as your ability to talk, right? So you're not just saying, okay, I've done my duty, I told them what's right, but it didn't register with them because there's no relationship there that would cause them to listen. So I think that's important, okay?